let us start. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Okay, so hello everyone. Just like to start this whole session with a very nice and interesting quote which says, cyber safety is not just about technology, it's about awareness, behavior, and timely action. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you joining us today. I am Avni Jain, and it gives me immense pleasure to officially welcome you to the Cyber Aware Thursday series. And more importantly, to mark the formal launch of this initiative with our special opening session titled as Cyber Myth Buster. Today's session is not just another webinar, it reminds to begin of a long-term commitment to building cyber awareness, resilience, and responsible digital behavior across individuals, families, and communities. Before we proceed, quick housekeeping guidelines to ensure a smooth session. Please keep your microphones on mute during the session. You are encouraged to post your questions in the chat or the Q&A section. Audience interaction will be taken during the dedicated panel discussion segment at the last of the session. And also we request everyone to be respectful of time and the perspectives which all are shared. I would also like to make you go through the discussion that we are going to do today. We have two experienced moderators, Mr. Saravana Kumar sir, who will also serve as moderator during the panel discussion and help connect technology with human behavior, and also Lakshmi Meni, who will be moderating our expert interaction segment. Our moderators will ensure the conversation remained focused, interactive, and actionable. With this, let us begin today's discussion by moving into our first expert interaction segment. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Saravana Kumar sir to set the context and address our audience on the launch of Cyber Aware Thursday series. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. Namaskar. Iniya Malai Vanakkam. Good evening, everyone joining us today. Good evening to everyone joining us today, and a very warm welcome to the Cyber Aware Thursday series special launch session. This series has been actually conceptualized as a monthly first Thursday initiative with one clear purpose: to move cyber awareness beyond one-time conversations and also to create a continuous, relevant, and people-centric dialogue. In India today, our digital adoption has grown rapidly. Say UPI, our online banking, e-governance platforms, our digital classrooms, and remote work are all part of our everyday life. However, our digital behavior has not, evolved or adapted at the same pace as our digital access. Most cyber incidents we see today are not exactly due to advanced hacking, but due to human decisions, wherein we trust the wrong message, we act on urgency, we assume that it won't happen to me, or believing common cyber myths. This is why today's session focuses on myth busting, because myths create a false sense of safety, they delay response, and also increase the vulnerability. Cyber safety is no longer only a technical issue, it is a behavioral, psychological, and social challenge. Today's discussion brings together ground level cybercrime realities and cyber psychology insights, helping us understand not just what goes wrong online, but why. I encourage everyone to listen, reflect, and participate actively. With that context set, let us now move into our guest speaker interaction. Thank you, and enjoy the session.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Lakshmi Mini ma'am to take forward the session.
Thank you so much, Avni. At NCORE Foundation, we often say this: cybercrime doesn't begin with a click, it begins with a belief. Beliefs like this won't happen to me, I'll manage on my own, or it's too late anyway. So today's Cyber Myth Buster is about breaking those beliefs because NCORE Foundation stands not just for cyber safety, but it is India's first cyber rehabilitation enabler where awareness meets healing and victims are never left alone. Now, to break myths, and we need voices that come from the ground, not assumptions, not theory, but lived policing experience. It's my privilege to introduce Rahul Alwal IPS. And I say this not just as a professional introduction, but from personal experience as well. So Rahul sir is what I call a super cop, not just because of his uniform, but because of his humanity. He's someone who answers my calls, like volunteers' calls during odd hours, odd situations, and odd jurisdictions as well. Whether he's posted to Mizoram or whether the case belongs to Bengaluru or Delhi, his response is always the same. Tell me what happened. He's a 2014 batch admit cadre officer, an IIT Bombay computer science graduate with deep expertise in cyber forensics, cyber law, and digital investigation. Rahul sir has built cyber units from scratch, cracked complex cases, and strengthened cyber policing wherever he is served. From SP Aizwal to leading Langley district and now serving. In fact, he's going to join as Deputy Commissioner of Police Delhi. He represents what modern policing should look like: tech smart, victim sensitive, and deeply accessible. Sir, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Sir, thank you so much for being with us here. And we would like to ask you a few questions, sir, to begin with. Can we?
Sure, ma'am. Please.
So there is a common belief that cybercrime only affects careless or highly active online users. So from your experience, how accurate is this assumption, and what consequences have you seen when victims delay reporting because of such myths?
First of all, ma'am, thank you for inviting me and such a nice introduction. And I want to just mention that Lakshmi, ma'am, I've been associated with her for I think now close to 2.5 years, 2.5, 3 years. So you whatever service you are doing, ma'am, for the public, it's really good. The component of awareness and also hand-holding during any kind of complaints, which you do is quite what do you call reassuring for the cyber victims. So that is very nice of you, and I hope you continue, and your organization also continues that.
We will serve if we have support from officers like you. Only then
Thank
we can.
you.
Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Always here. Okay, ma'am. So with respect to your question, I have whatever I have seen right now so far. I don't see any trend in which I can say that only particular like activity of users are actually influenced. But morely, I can see that people who don't use much are much more what do you call victims, because they don't get aware. I mean, the people who are not so much active in the cyberspace, they may not have enough awareness of such thing. For example, like even the elders, even the like officials, government officials, or other persons who are middle-aged persons who don't do much of cyber activities, they are actually, you can say, they are there. Enough number of victims are there, but at the same time, even the people who are active, they are also like kind of victims. For example, there are different type of crimes. So I would say, for example, the famous digital arrest, that is on the side of the people who don't use much of cyberspace, and the other kind of crimes, for example, morphing of photographs and creating fake profiles. So these kind of things are on the side of the people who are much more active. So I could say both is there, but we hear more of digital arrest and the cyber fraud and those kind of frauds where you are asked to like share your OTP. So those kind of frauds we see often, money associated. So in that case, in a scenario, the people who are not so active gets duped. And what was the second question? If I ask you
Yes,
to
sir.
repeat.
Actually, you have already answered it. In fact, I think you have, in short, told us that anybody can be a victim, and there are various kinds of cyber frauds, and each kind of people may fall for it based on their vulnerability.
Yes,
If
yes.
we have coded it rightly, sir, and we
Exactly.
have answered.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You rightly said that. Yes.
Yes, sir. And that is very much accurate, sir, because people who think that I'm too educated to be fooled or I'm highly uneducated, so I'm not, anybody can be a victim. You rightly said it, sir. And sir, the next question is, sir, there is a belief that once a cyber complaint is filed, the victim will be called repeatedly to the police station, and that might impart some fear in the minds of people before they file a complaint. How true is this, sir, in today's system?
See, just like any other complaint, see, first of all, for registering nowadays, there is new thing which has come up. If you are in from Delhi, if you are somebody who are in Delhi, we are very lucky. There is something called EFE 0 FIR for the cyber related frauds also. Now,
Yes, sir.
if you register any kind of a crime, I don't know the much technicalities of this because I recently joined Delhi Police, but soon I will be able to know. But you can actually search and you'll get to know more details. So what I know so far is, so you can give a complaint just like EFIR. If people who are from Delhi, they may already know they have a EFIR for house theft, that is burglary, and also normal theft. So and even MV theft, motor vehicle theft. So there is EFIR already existing in Delhi Police. Now what they have extended that system to cyber crimes also, where automatically EFIR is registered, E0 FIR is registered, so that the complaint just get transferred to the concerned cyber police station of that particular district. So for each, we have about 15 districts in Delhi, and each district have their own cyber police station. So if you register any case, like complaint there in the portal, then the 0 FIR, E0 FIR will be created, and that automatically gets converted to a EFIR in the concerned cyber police station. So that is there. Now, with respect to your question, like how much people have been called. So first of all, this if you're in Delhi, you are lucky. You
Yes,
don't
sir.
even face the police when you are registering a EFIR of cybercrime. First thing is that. Second thing is, see, for any kind of case, when you charge sheet it, how it functions is, see, the criminal justice system is, in a way, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt the guilt of a person, then only the person gets convicted, right? So there are enough mechanisms are there to prove that, to ensure that the a normal person who is not actually the criminal should not get the conviction or get harassed. So for that, you need to support as a complainant, you need to support the investigating organizations with respect to giving statements and even giving some documents. So if the IO is good enough, he will not be calling you much often. He will ask you only to come only for a couple of times wherever your signature is needed, or any statement have to be recorded from you in person. Okay, so those cases you have to come, and usually in normal cyber frauds, for example, the financial cyber frauds which happen, there is not much of statements to be taken. Maybe a couple of statements are needed. So that is enough. Maybe 2-3 times. So
Yes.
actually, people come more often, not on the call of the investigating officer, but to know the status of the case. That is the reason most of the time the victims come. What happened in my case? Anything further progress? So these things usually the complainant come and ask. So that is the reason they come part of it, and some part is the investigating officer would ask them to come to register to record a statement. So for that, for the purpose they are called. So this is the two scenarios, and sometimes they need to give a attested document. For example, if they can if they bring their own bank statements, for example, if they can give their own ID proofs and those kind of things which have to be self-attested, and also they should be properly stamped, and certified copy should be there. For those purposes also, they may request you to come and give it. For that purpose, anyone for that matter can come and give it, not exactly the complainant. But wherever the statement recording aspect is there, that part they need to come. And that is usually not, if a normal crime should not be more than a couple of times.
Yes, sir. And I think you said one point so aptly that people fear that they might be called often, but psychologically, I don't know what goes wrong, but people themselves visit there, and finally, IO has to tell them that, please, you don't need to come again and again. We'll update
Yes.
you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That is what happens actually. They themselves come much often than requested.
Correct, sir. Correct, sir. Thanks for answering that. And sir, the third question is, so people often say that the money is already gone. So what's the use of complaining? And maybe that is why there is a huge difference between the actual crime that happens and the number of complaints that are filed. So from an law enforcement perspective, why is reporting still important? And what is that one message that you would like to give citizens to remove their fear of filing a cyber complaint? Because sir, if it is like I think you were the one who told us once that if it is a robbery, you won't actually hesitate. You'll go and file a complaint. But when it comes to a cyber complaint, people think multiple times before filing a complaint.
Yes, ma'am. So, see, the more you report, the more database we will have. See, first of all, I want to tell you, whenever you report any crime in the cybercrime.gov.in portal, it doesn't get converted to an FIR. First of all, please understand that. So it is only a intimation as a complaint. Okay. First thing is that not every complaint which you give on the portal, cybercrime.gov.in portal, doesn't convert into FIR. That is first thing. Second thing is the the good aspects, like how is it beneficial for you and how is it beneficial for the police. So these two aspects I will tell you. First, how is beneficial for you? First benefit for the main benefit which you which the complainant has is that they are reporting a crime which has happened on their account or any wallet, and then that particular transaction has been blocked. Okay, so whatever the further transaction happens later, also that gets automatically blocked. So for that, you may get your money back. Okay, depending on how fast or how early you will report the crime. There are 2-3 ways of getting the money out of the system. That is by check withdrawal, or ATM withdrawal, or bank withdrawal, or even in another case sending into international bank accounts. So in these 4 cases, it is difficult to get at least block the money. We can still get the money if there is a big amount involved, and we can try to find out who is the person withdrawing it. But if it is even for a small amount, sitting from the police station itself, a police officer can block the concerned bank account or wallet. Yes. So that will help in there's a hope that you will get the money. That is your advantage. What is advantage from the police side is that we will have a big database on the suspected mobile numbers, bank accounts, which are used as mule accounts for doing this kind of transactions. So, see, for doing a fraud, they will not use only one mule account or one SIM. They will use They will target multiple victims using the same account. So that way, what we can do is we can identify those accounts and red flag them, and we can ask the concerned bank people to have an activity to be checked and monitored, and also block those SIMs and mule accounts for further victimization of other people. So you are actually helping other people by actually disclosing your being defrauded. So these things, this will help in making a database. Actually, what we have, there is something called Pratibimb portal. Okay, so the Pratibimb heat map is there with respect to which are accessible to all the law enforcement agencies. Concerned state police organizations have access to that. So, for example, if I'm sitting in Delhi, I can see the different hotspots of these kind of bank accounts, like wherever suppose if you report a crime that it has transferred to some particular bank account, so that bank account branch is highlighted to me, saying that this particular branch has these were a number of mule accounts, where are even the accounts where people have registered their complaint. So that way I can go to that particular bank and try to find out who are the persons who are the person who taking this account, and also there could be some bank official involved in actually giving those bulk accounts or opening some bulk accounts. Like there are enough cases where corporate accounts opened for the mule accounts, and the bank officials will also be arrested. So giving that information, that is one part. Another heat map is where this money is withdrawn. For example, the ATM centers, the check RPOS machines. So if they are actually doing these kind of wherever this such a bank ATM centers and POS machines are also geotagged, and we will get a good heat map on where such activities are happening. That way also we can fight, because see, you may be victim in Bangalore, but the accused is withdrawing the money in Delhi. So in Delhi, I will be able to know where they are stationed. So even though it is not my case, I can actually take action on that. Actually, Cyberhawk, if you know the Cyberhawk
Yes.
program of Delhi Police, it is a big success only because we are not worrying about the jurisdiction of the complainant. We are worrying about the jurisdiction of the accused. And depending on those information which is coming out from this cybercrime portal of I4C, we are able to see all those complaints, and accordingly we are zeroing on those people, bringing them to police station, registering crimes, registering the FIRs, and we are charge sheeting them also and arresting them. So this is what happening. It's a big success. So that way, so it will help us to actually put a tab on these people and nab them, even though they are from other the complainants from other side of the country. We are able to take care of them because jurisdiction wise, only the accused jurisdiction is here. So even though the complainant is not there, we are trying to help them out by registering fresh cases based on your complaint only. We are not even calling you on that day. Whenever we do this kind of drives, we are not even calling the complainant. We are asking them to come. We are not asking them to come to police station and register a complaint. We are just on the basis of acknowledgement, which was done on the complaint which was given on the portal. We are registering their FIR and we are arresting those criminals. So you should, even if it's a 1 rupee, I would recommend to go and give a complaint.
Sir, that was some crucial information you've shared with us, and I would call it an eye opener indeed. And I hope everybody listening, in fact, our audience on YouTube as well, and please share this information with. It's not just this one the amount that matters or where this happened matters, but if you file a complaint, we are collectively fighting against the cyber frauds. Thank you so much, sir. And Saravana, Kumar, sir, do you have any questions to be asked to sir? Before we
absolutely. First of all, thank you very much, sir, for accepting our request to be the guest speaker for this important session in spite of your busy, hectic schedule. A common concern among cybercrime victims is that the fear of being blamed for their mistakes. So in reality, how does the police force view and support such victims?
See, I would not say the police is completely sophisticated in this to understand the nitty-gritties of being a cyber victim. So still they're evolving. I would say. I would not say that they are like they're very sensitive to this. I will not say they're very very sensitive. But they are actually evolving. But yeah, but so far I found that considerable improvement is there. But with respect to the complainant themselves, I would say anyone can be a victim in this. It need not be. See, it doesn't matter if I am a cyber expert or anyone, you, me, or anyone. I mean, anyone can be a victim in this. It's only the tactics and the social engineering tactics which they use are very sophisticated. You may never know that. You may think it is a safe thing, even though it may not appear that okay, this may not be a fraud or this may not be. So you never know. Okay, I'm not giving any OTP. What conventionally, what do we think? When we give a password, when we share our OTP, when we click a link, okay, when we install an app, only then we will, because we are getting to know these things. I think if 5 years before, if somebody said that, if we install an app, they will, like, what can they do? Or even if we click a link, what will happen? When we fight 10 years back, the people will never know that such kind of thing exists. But people are they are evolving, and so are we evolving to get to know more and more such crimes will happen. Digital arrest, for example. People who are actually fearful of police will actually think that such a thing exists because they don't know much about the law. They don't know much about the criminal justice system as such. So that way they are innovating, and we will sometimes it takes us for surprise also that these can. For example, why we take it for surprise? Because we think such a thing can never happen. For example, digital arrest. I mean, it may appear that from the police side, it may appear that how can somebody can believe in those things? But if you see it from the perspective of a public who is a law-abiding citizen, they will always be in a fear that okay, they are not wrongly implicated in any case, so they would like to comply as much as possible. So those things are there, which is taken advantage of by the public, by the criminals, and they try to exploit. So from the perspective of a general citizen, I would say anyone can be a victim, need not be an educated person. Even I have seen personally there is it is across the spectrum. I mean, rich, poor, educated, uneducated, city, village, men, women, okay, elderly, youngsters. It is across spectrum. We cannot say in general, but the type of crimes which happen is uh, it is the flavor may vary, but the victims as such is it covers the whole spectrum, as I said. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very true. In fact, whatever you said, that evolving stuff. So as cybercrime is also evolving, we also don't want to have, just sessions once in a blue moon. We want to have it in a monthly manner, first Thursday. That is the main objective behind our conducting such sessions as well. Okay, one more question if you have the time. One quick question.
Yes, sure, please.
Sure, thank you. See, basically, I've seen practical cases wherein somebody's account has been blocked due to no reason of theirs. Okay, and when they check from the bank, they say that some money, some transaction has happened, has come to us, come to that particular person who has got impacted. Yeah, so it is happening. All the accounts, whichever is related to the victim, or not victim, I mean the perpetrator or the person whoever has done some fraud. So, I mean, as citizens, what exactly they need to do so that, number one, they can avoid and prevent. Number two, if at all anything happens, how they can come out of it in the fastest possible manner.
This becomes a little tricky. Actually, a lot of cooperation and support is needed from the police, concerned police station for this. Even I have heard about these complaints from my knowns. Also, they have requested me that such a thing happened. So, what need to be done is you have to actually go and meet the concerned the nearest cyber police station. See, the freezing can be done by anywhere across the country. So the nearest cyber police station, you have to go, and that person can actually help by seeing the on base of what complaint they have what do you call frozen the particular lane the amount, some amount. Sometimes what happens is they freeze the whole account. That should not be done. It should be actually the concerned amount has to be frozen, not the whole account. So that's called lien marking. So now two things. First, if you go to the bank, it will tell you the concerned complaint. Okay, they give the details of the concerned complaint on which based on which he has a what do you call marked the separate the account for lien. And after getting the acknowledgement number of that complaint, you have to again approach the local police station, local cybercrime police station, mentioning that such a thing happened and I have not done any kind of wrongful transaction. Kindly verify and also kindly consult the concerned cyber police station to get it rectified. So that is the only method which is there. But sometimes what may happen is it doesn't become a priority for the some cyber police station because they are always overworked up and a lot of other cases happen. So when such kind of complaints come, you have to be persistent. You have to request them, keep on requesting. Then only then they will be able to helpful by you. And also you can raise it to different platforms also. For example, like to senior officers also you can raise it so that the concerned cyber ACP or SHO they can actually take proactive steps in this. Like in this thing, there is no streamlined way of giving you a complaint because you are considered more of as a accused kind of thing, right? You have actually, if you see from the side of the police, so it is more of like counter petitioner who is actually on whom the complaint has come. So so they have to show a little more interest. Only then these things can be resolved, and you have to keep on persistently asking them. That's the only thing I would say can happen. Otherwise, there is.
Yeah, that is very much unfortunate, I should say, because people are forced to go around in circles and
another thing is actually you can know pinpoint on which transaction, based on which transaction these people have market, because there should be some transaction in your account, okay, on based on which they have done it. So you have to pinpoint on that transaction who sent you that money, okay. So that money was sent by somebody. For what happens is, see, for example, A, B, C, D people are there, okay. So A has fraudulently sent the money to B, okay. Like B is the accused. He has sent the money to like A has sent money to B and A was cheated, for example, okay. Now B has got the money. Now what B has done, now B wanted to use the money. Now he has used the money to give it to other persons. Like for example, he went and bought an iPhone, for example. He went to a store. He went to iPhone and bought an iPhone. C. Now C got the money. Now C, if he after he's a he is a person who is running a mobile store. Now he is using that money, for example, to buy some home appliance, for example, for his own home. For example, he buys a fridge. So here he gives again to D. Now what the D now the money is right now in the D account. Okay. So what will happen is the D account gets frozen. Okay. B, C, D, both three of them get frozen, but mainly the amount is frozen only in the D because the amount is there in the D only. Okay. So now that particular person will say, where is it? What do you call? C will say that D can say that because of the C's transaction, it is being marked as lien. But C will say, I am a genuine person. How can this happen? So that means that something has happened before that. C got the money from again B. B is the main accused, for example. Okay, the chain can be. I just given you 4% chain. The chain can even go long. Usually the chain goes for more than 10 people also. So that's what happens. Actually, when you receive money from somebody online, which is a kind of a proceed of a crime, then it becomes part of the crime only in a way. Even though then you have to prove your genuinity in that, saying that you are not part of the crime. That becomes onus on you.
Okay, understood.
That is the issue. I think you understood the chain now.
I understood.
Thank you so much, sir.
My point is that the victim is becoming the accused, unfortunately. So what you said is right. Thank you so much for the valuable inputs.
Rahul, sir, thank you not just for your insights, but also reassuring the citizens that the police system today is evolving. You specifically said that, sir, and it's listening and standing with the victims. Your words actually break fear, restores trust, and remind us that asking for help is not weakness, it is wisdom. Thank you so much, sir. We know how busy you are. You recently shifted, and despite that, you accepted our invitation to come here and address our, cyber mythbuster questions. And we are really thankful to you, sir, and expecting support in future as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you all the organizers for conducting such event. Thank you once again. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, like I said, asking for help is not weakness, it is wisdom. So, we should also remember that if we are having fever or if we are having any physical issue, we just rush to the hospital, we rush to the doctor, we start Googling about it, right? But when it is concerning your mind, your mental health, you think twice, you are bound by the stigma. So, I'm actually privileged to introduce our second speaker today, and who will be addressing a cyber myth buster related questions and points related to the psychological aspect. And to understand, the cybercrime fully, we must go beyond systems and law, and we must understand the human mind behind the screen. So it's my honor to introduce Ms. Ritu Saggar ma'am from NCORE Foundation, and she's a head cyber psychology and wellness as well. So she's a senior educationist and cyber psychologist with over 3 decades of experience across Indian and international education system. She's a master trainer and subject matter expert. She brings together deep academic grounding and real-world cyber psychology to help us understand how digital risk affect behavior, decision-making, emotions, and well-being. Having mentored students across CBSE, IB, IG, CSE, Cambridge, and Australian curricula, and contributed extensively to national cyber safety and wellness initiatives, she has a rare gift, translating complex cyber psychological realities into simple, human, and actionable insight. Ma'am, we invite you to share your perspectives with us. Ritu ma'am.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thanks a lot. Thanks, team. So, good evening, all. I'll just share my screen, and we'll also be, I'll start talking about certain cyber myths which are there, and then we'll be just going ahead with that. Right? So just give me a second. I hope it's visible. Just let me know. Just a moment. Just a moment. I think I just got confused with the. I hope it's visible.
Yes, ma'am. The
Is it
screen
visible?
sharing is started. The PPT is not yet visible to me.
Okay.
Can somebody else confirm?
Not yet. Please start sharing.
I've started sharing. Is it not visible?
Ma'am, you can stop and then start again.
Okay, I'll just do that. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You can go in the presentation mode.
Yes, yeah, I'll just do that. It's just waiting for that, whether it's visible or not. So, good evening, all.
No,
And
actually now it's not
as
visible.
Lakshmi just talked about, again, it's not visible.
Yeah, just a second.
I think at the moment I've brought it to the
Ma'am, please
PowerPoint
share
mode. It's
the
happening.
entire screen for this.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just. Is it fine now?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Cool. Please proceed.
Thank you. So, just trying. Yeah. So we are going to be discussing about the cyber mythbusters, as we've already talked a lot today, and we had been having lots of questions also, which are related to the victim understanding and all those kind of things. So we are going to be talking about it. First, I will just come with what is myth basically. What do you mean by that? If we just talk about cyber myth, and when we just talk about myths, basically they're the kind of understanding we just develop with time, and we feel that okay, these are the things which are going to be. It's kind of a very deeply rooted in our cultural beliefs, and we believe that this is how we understand the world around us and we interpret the world around us.
Ritu ma'am,
And
can you
it's
turn off your video, ma'am?
too strong.
Ritu ma'am, can you turn
I'll
off
do
your
that.
video so that your bandwidth is improved? Yes, ma'am, for some time.
Okay, I'll do that. Just again, just give me 1 second. I just have to go back, I think.
No, just turn off. I mean, okay, ma'am.
That's not happening.
There's
Can you do the needful?
Ma'am, there is a camera button over there.
Okay.
Down.
Yeah.
Now I can see. Yeah. Because initially it wasn't visible to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Perfect, ma'am.
as we talked about, now is it okay? Can you hear me? Well, so the first
Yes, ma'am.
myth I would be talking about is the scale. People believe, it's a very normal belief amongst all, that because we are a very small organization, or we are nobody, we are just a single person. How can somebody be affecting me? So this is the biggest myth, as Lakshmi was also just talking a few minutes back, that how can it be that it's me? So we all go with, I talk about the confidence, or maybe also we talk about that this will never happen to me. It can only happen to large firms. It can happen to people who that doesn't happen. In fact, when we just look at psychology, these people are looking for those kind of people who are less literate in terms of having an understanding sometimes of these kind of things, that okay, this will be happening to others. So those kind of things are not true. In fact, when we just talk about the scale, doesn't matter at all. In fact, more of, if we just look at the data in terms of that, if you just see the statistics, it's more of medium-sized companies, and it is also more of people who are actually from middle class. They are getting hacked more in comparison to the richer or maybe the poorer. So when we just talk about the psychological aspect of, when we just talk, why do people feel that this won't happen to me? The first is self-exemption bias. The feeling that people have, that they downplay the personal risk. They feel that it kind of thinking like this, they go after big fish and they don't trouble me at all. It's basically very convincing for their own self-esteem. They feel that if I think like this, my fear will be lesser. So that is one bias which is there. And then the scale, which is like visibility illusion, that is that only big people make news, or only known or celebrities. They will be the known people, and nobody will kind of even touch the unknown one, and not a known person. So those kind of things, kind of people believe that if you are on media quite a bit, influencers, so that the possibility increases, but not with me. And then if I just talk about the simplification of complex threats, we just simplify those threats in terms of that we understand opportunism, and we understand that this can only be done by bad guys, big targets, big rewards, which can be done. Then we live in this denial, which is like defensive denial. I try to be that this is no, if I'm not, how can I be? And I'm not important, so I'm safe. That is the kind of a belief which makes us less anxious. And the moment we are less anxious, we become more this thing also, we become less vigilant as well in our aspects to create awareness or have awareness about certain things, how to go about them. And again, misunderstanding of attacker motivation was the biggest. If we just talk about that, they feel that strategic masterminds will only chase the massive things, big things. So again, reality it's the other way around. Many attacks are generally random and they are volume based. They don't care about who are you, like are you a small fish or a big fish, but it is like the easiest target, the random targets, the volume based targets, and not the biggest. I had been, in fact, one or time, I'm pretty sure a lot of people generally get some certain calls also asking that this has happened, and it's kind of, they create that kind of a pressure on you immediately that okay, this is required to be done. So I myself had that kind of an experience where I'd been just told that your father needs money or something like that, without even knowing that my father has passed away 25 years back. So now immediately that helped me, but not every time it can happen. Sometimes it's like a real person. I'd been calm at that time, and I understood that it cannot be a normal call which is there. So it was luckily, fortunately, again, as I just said, I couldn't be manipulated. But there are many who get manipulated because of the creation of that pressure which has been generally created on them. So now when we just go to the next, another myth which is there, the second myth when we just talk about is that antivirus is not a panacea for all cyber attacks. We have to understand that if I put the antivirus, it's kind of a cure for everything. So it's not true. It's not a magic wand which is there, or it's not going to be like you've just tried something and Harry Potter's wand which is there and it's going to be working for you. So that doesn't happen. Basically, when we just talk about, the best is to have multi systems which are going to be working for you in terms of that, and also to keep regular updates. We'll just do the logical aspect that why this happens again, why people feel this way, it will affect me. The first is illusion of total protection. So we just live in that illusion. We start believing that, and we try because we feel that this is a blood reality, that these things can happen to me, and that false sense of invulnerability or feeling that I am protected. So they just become a symbol for that. Antivirus become the symbol, and then it becomes easier for us to, okay, now we'll not do anything about that. Then anxiety management and reassurance seeking, when we just talk about it's like normal thing, you feel that I've locked my door, nothing can happen to me, nobody can come to me, but you are aware that robberies do take place. People do intrude into your privacy, and they come into your houses also, and they take away the things. So similar it is also here, the same way. Even if you have like kind of an antivirus or something, again, the possibility is, if you are not well protected, if you are not taking multi ways in terms of protecting yourself, there are possibilities with you to you can go, or you can face any such problem also. So when we just talk about, again, externalized sense of control, we always feel, instead of I understand risk and make decisions on this particular thing, basically the mindset has become that software is going to be handling me, I don't have to do anything, and that relieves our mind. It kind of helps our mind gets kind of a shutdown in terms of that I don't have to be anxious about the thing. So that is another reason which makes us believe that antiviruses are working for us. And magical or absolutist thinking, again, as humans we have a habit that we think words like everyone, everywhere, which is going to be there. And we all have a habit. We don't live in grace. We don't understand that the world is the shades of grace, and it's not exactly the black and white, that either very bad people or very good people. So there are certain good people who can be sometimes doing bad things, and the bad people who can be doing good things. Now, when we just talk about again, it can be a magical thing, that absolute one thing which is going to be working for you. Similarly, like that as human, this thing is there. Here also in antivirus, there is, when we just believe, then technology is basically creating a protective charm rather than a limited tool for us. So we just work towards that. The thing next is trust transfer to authority. So as I just said, it becomes very comfortable for us to just believe that there is a bigger thing which is going to be working for me. Like we have supernaturals, we believe that they work for us. They're going to be helping us out. We will be getting out of this problem, as somebody is going to protect us somewhere or the similar happens with the antivirus thing also. I'm pretty sure everybody has their own religion and their own faith, and they believe in that. So similar situation happens here. So we just kind of make it a god for us, and then we just feel like, okay, we are protected now. So now again, another risk compensation effect, which is like again talking about when people are feeling protected, they may again take more risks in terms of they feel that nothing can touch me, and because I have got this thing, so they start sometimes kind of being. I have heard, in fact, there had been one particular person I had been just talking to very recently, and it was kind of very interesting to talk to that person. I was quite curious. He just told me that I really enjoy talking people who are from dark web. They try to call, and I just put a lot of my time, and till the time they get irritated, and then they leave the a phone call, and then they are abusing me over the phone. uh, Again, it showed me a lot of overconfidence of that person, because they don't realize sometimes these kind of things can backfire on you. And if you think that you again know it all, so that kind of a problem can come. And then he was kind of overconfident about those things, that if I'm doing it, nothing can happen. And even if I overshare, or even if I do that, I'm pretty smart in terms of handling that thing. It was quite interesting to have a conversation, I remember, to have with him. And it took me at least half an hour to try to convince him on that kind of a thing, that you never know, things can happen, and shit happens with anyone and everyone anytime. So when we just talk about, again, psychologically, when we say any safety shield makes us feel that we are safe. Nothing can happen to us, nothing can harm us. Then again, another myth which is there, the third myth we are going to be talking about, that the strong passwords are enough for us. We don't have to worry. It is similar to very much like antivirus, that if I put the antivirus, so nothing can harm me. Exactly like that. Strong passwords can also be hacked. It is very, very comfortable for them. So nowadays we should be having multi-factor authentication system, which should be there, and you should be using those kind of apps, or maybe also talking about the bank system. I find SBI Bank has that kind of a multi-factor system, which is really something. It puts you off in terms of so many changes you have to make in a particular thing, but still at the end, when you realize that it's going to be useful in terms of that your money is safe in that place, so that really helps. So don't just feel that okay, the strong password, if I'm going to be making, it's going to be helping me out, but look for certain things which are going to give you 4 or 5 OTPs and all that, so that will be much more helpful. Then in that one again, the same as I just told you, it's a control illusion. You feel that I have put something which nobody knows, though it's not so difficult to hack those passwords, which you all are also aware. When people are knowing a lot about your, especially the hackers who have a lot of understanding of your life. So there are lots of ways in which they can just. Okay,
Requesting
then the
everybody
boundary
to stay
effort
on
just.
mute. Ma'am, you may continue.
Okay. Yeah. So then controlling of illusion. When we just talk about creating a complex password, again, gives us a strong sense of personal agency, that that is, I've done a very hard thing for myself. So if you have taken so much of time and to understand that what kind of a password should I put, so it makes you feel convinced that I'm protected now. Nothing can happen to me. So it's kind of your own mind which gives a coverage to you that, you have controlled the thing and nothing can happen. So that is again another. And then we just talk about boundary thinking. When we talk about boundary thinking, again, it's kind of a boundary which is I've got created. It's a solid gate which I've created, and nobody can cross this boundary so easily. Nobody can bypass because I have put a very strong password. So another thing for how can you be working also in that multi-factors association authentication, and also changing of passwords very frequently. I know it's difficult, it's painful, but still it because it can give you a lot of comfort in your mind in terms of that. And then again, when we just talk about the psychological aspect in terms of strong passwords, not enough in terms of that cognitive load avoided. We talk that security basically requires ongoing attention. We have to keep doing it. So believing again, as I just said, that strong word is password is enough. It reduces my mental effort. It makes me that I have to remember fewer things. So sometimes what happens because of that, people have multi this thing in terms of multi places where they have just put the same password, and it helps them to kind of fewer behavior in terms of changing, or less anxiety will be there. So that is how they again move to that one, just one sometimes, which can make a big blunder again. So again, outdated mental models. Many people have understood that we have to evolve, as Mr. Rahul was also talking, DCP Rahul was talking about, that we have to kind of evolve with the time, that as the things are evolving, we have to keep ourselves updated, and we have to understand that these defensive systems we have to have imbibed in us. And I know it's sometimes very difficult, specifically for the elderly people, to understand, but it is important. Whenever we go through these kind of understanding of scams or understanding of this thing, we must be talking to the family, openly communicate about those kind of situations, so that it is just not one person, but most of us are following that in the family. Then another myth when we should talk about is that Macs and iPhones are above board. Not above board. They cannot be hacked. Nobody can do that. I have invested so much of money to buy these kind of gadgets, and how can it be possible? But remember, always that criminals are always one step ahead from the police, also from others also. So they're always looking for something where we have not looked upon, we have not kind of given attention to. So it's their mindset. The criminal mindset is very, very clear. They are sharper than us. They have IQs which are much better than common normal people. So they will always be looking for the loopholes. They will be always looking for the places where it is possible to find it out. And of course, as I just said, even in these kind of, there are they have the ability to create malware. They are quite evolved in their this thing also. So we have to be careful in terms of, and not to be believing that if I have a Mac phone or I have an iPhone, so nothing can happen. Because again, why does it happen with us that we feel like this? Because first is, it's a halo effect on us. The halo effect means, as if you've just seen on Gotham Board, we just show a nice halo in terms of, like, if you can just see my halo is coming when I'm speaking, in terms of inside the picture is there, though it is over the head when we have. So when we just talk about that, it's basically the feeling of halo effect, that I have it all with me, and it's going to be working for me. So that again makes you feel that I am secured. It's a very polished thing. It's a very sophisticated thing with this in my hand. So it's going to be safe. Then another is in-group bias, which is there in identity protection, which means again, it's just not a tool, but it's a part of my identity. So how can it go wrong? It can never go wrong, and they cannot take viruses. Another thing, again, early truth turned into a permanent myth. And then we talk about that this kind of people, initially what had happened, people had been not in initial part, they had not been able to hack. Because again, as I just said, the criminals are also evolving. So maybe in the initial part, they had not been able to hack this technology of theirs, but gradually with time, as I said, they have become smarter. They are also able to do that. And this is kind of an anchoring bias which has been there, because we felt it was not happened earlier in history. It will not be happening in the future also. So that is again another psychological thinking, or the way to think about the things. Then comes the security through design misconception. When we talk again, that more secure, that is more secure because it's been designed like this. So that also makes us feel a little peace with ourselves. And again, psychologically, we kind of become a little cool about it and comfortable, and then never bother. And we are not aware, or we don't try to be, being aware what's going on around us. or trying to update ourselves on certain things which are happening, on scams which are happening around us. Then optimism bias. Again, bad things happen to others. This is a basic thing when we just say it'll never happen to me, as Lakshmi was also talking earlier, that this is a big problem with all of us, that we all feel that it will happen to others, it will not happen. We are very optimistic on these things, though might be pessimistic and so many other things, but very, very optimistic in this aspect, and that makes us careless. No, and when it makes us careless, it's going to be impacted on the not careful. So then marketing the marketing also has plays its role. And when you watch these ads of theirs, they kind of create those kind of ads and told that this is the safest possible thing which you can do, and that message it keeps coming, which is times has come to you from different channels, from different people. So what happens? You start believing, and that
Ma'am, audio is not clear.
Thing is,
Audio is not clear, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, thank you for noting that. Ritu ma'am, I think there's some issue with your audio.
Is it still there?
No, ma'am, now it is clear, ma'am.
Now it's fine? Oh, just
Yes, ma'am.
maybe this year.
You may continue, ma'am.
Yeah, I can. Now is it okay?
It's perfect, ma'am.
So the next, when we just talk about another myth, is cybersecurity is the problem of IT team. It's not my problem. So again, many system also, organizations also. I will not just talk about the human as an individual thinking like this, but even the organizations start thinking like this is, generally the technical people who are going to be working, or technical people who are going to be solving our problems, and they will be the one who will be responsible in the companies as well. So all this, when we just talk about, also is kind of, makes us feel that, the possibilities become much with us, in terms of that we compromise very comfortably, or we get compromised very easily in that kind of case. And there's one example which is there here, when we just talk about that there had been an accountant who had been employed, who had been an employee of a company, and he was unaware. He had no idea of the IT aspect of the system, and he opened a link by mistake, and which was one of his client. And with one click, he had kind of compromised with the system. So again, because we all start believing that one particular department in our system is going to be working for that. So when I just say this, again, how psychologically we think on this, basically the first is responsibility diffusion. When we talk about that responsibility diffusion, it means that it is a special team which is going to be working, and they're all laced up with everything which is possible to be, or can be harming us. So another person is in charge. I don't have to do that. So I don't have to worry about that. It's something like in a normal team collaboration also, when you do any projects or something, also when you are as a team. As even students, I would say, if you just do in that one also, the moment somebody says, okay, you are going to be in charge of presentation in terms of speaking, you will be in charge of making that presentation, and or somebody doing the research part, we just start working towards our work, and we feel that it's other person's job, that who's going to be doing that particular thing, and I don't have to worry about that. So taking that again in your mind, we just psychologically feel that it is somebody else who has taken the charge. Now I don't have to be, which is also called a social loafing, which is again very common again in terms of that. It makes me loaf in terms of understanding somebody who's taking care of me, so I don't have to. Then authority and expertise, which is again there, we that they have expertise, and they're experts in their own field. They are definitely better than me, and whenever I'll have any issues, I'll go and ask them, and they will be handling that for us. So because of that, what happens, that personal vigilance in terms of that goes away. We are capable sometimes handling those kind of things. Otherwise, I would have brought awareness in my own self and understanding of that, how can affecting so impact my
Ma'am, there's a slight disturbance in your voice, I think.
Again?
Now it is fine. Now it is fine.
Oh.
Gone
So
again.
when you just talk
Ma'am, again, it's gone.
exactly. So we have an avoidance. Is it again the same? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I think
Hello?
it's intermittent. I mean, in between it is happening. Now it is clear.
Is okay, fine. So
And I would like to clarify,
avoidance,
ma'am. Yes, Ritu ma'am has, accepted our invitation to be the speaker to spread awareness, despite it is her, day 2 of shifting to a new home. So hats off to you, ma'am, and kindly you can continue.
Thank you very much. Thanks for understanding also. When we talk cognitive avoidance, again, we have like certain shut off procedures for ourselves. We live in denial sometimes, by that this thing is not existing, or we withdraw ourselves. Similarly, here, what is happening when we just do that, we are actually avoiding. We're trying to avoid it. It's somebody else's job and it's not mine. So that when I do this, it's going to bring my anxiety. It becomes my anxiety is going to become lesser in comparison. So just for that mind, or not to feel too anxious, we generally try and create that cognitive avoidance. And the next, maybe Atul. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened suddenly. This.
Okay, the PPT, right? Ma'am, you can continue. Well, we'll try to sort it out, I think. Athar,
No problem.
can you?
Yeah, I'm just doing it. Just a second. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, it's back.
Just okay now?
I think there's some issue with the audio, ma'am. Maybe you can. Meanwhile, Athar, can you share the screen and ma'am can leave and join again?
Sure. I will just gonna share the screen.
I'm done. I just join again.
Sure.
Not able to leave.
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
Just a second, ma'am. You can mute and I'll speak to you. So I have requested ma'am to join from the phone instead. And Athar, you're presenting, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes, I'm presenting.
Yeah, I think that will be better for ma'am to avoid the signal issues.
Right.
So meanwhile, I think I'll also answer the question regarding, I think Rahul sir had already answered your question. When you receive a tainted amount, that will lead to the freezing of your account. And unless you, clarify to the police that this amount was not tainted. For example, if you're receiving rent from somebody, yes, it is not tainted, you can prove it. But if you are getting money without any proper source to show, that case, you might have to return it to the victim, whoever has filed the complaint against you. But in your case, if you have evidence that you had given the money, so everybody, I'm just answering the question that Mr. John Miss Siri Chandana has asked. So yes, in this case, it's not a cyber complaint. It is a cyber complaint because your account got freezed. We totally understand, but it is freezed because the person who sent you the money, that person has sent you a tainted money. And when it is tainted, your account gets freezed and you need to prove that it is a legitimate amount. I mean, legitimate credit that happened in your bank account. And for that, you can call the IO of the police station where the complaint was filed. And that way you can, sort it out. So that is the right way of doing it.
Yeah. Lakshman,
So, Ritu ma'am, you're back. Okay, Ms.
Yeah.
Chandana, we'll get back to your question. Ma'am, you're back. Okay.
So when we just talked about cognitive avoidance, as I just talked about again, the same thing, role boundary thinking, that this is not my role. And I told you that there is this thing phenomena which is called a social loafing in our system, as in psychologically, as we just talk about, that the person who feels that others are doing this particular job, so I don't have to be bothered about that particular thing. So here also we start believing in that, and our behavior, human behavior is such that we find comfort in this. And then we kind of lag in terms of making ourselves more aware and to be working towards that understanding, because somebody else is going to be working for us. Then fear of blame. When we just try also, if security is like we just believe that IT is responsibility, then we feel that if something is going to be wrong, it's them whom you can be just blaming. So it'll be easy that who is going to be my target in terms of that this is the problem with this or that, and it is not me who has done that, or it's absolutely. So that fear of blaming also, in terms of that I might get blamed because of that, it's not on me, that I had not done, I had no awareness, so I've not done it. So you kind of try to protect yourself and your self-image. So that is again a human psychology which works on that. I try to be defensive. So to go to a defensive side, so that is the best way. When we just say that it's somebody else's task, and somebody else was supposed to do that. Then when we just talk about public Wi-Fi, which is there, I'll go to the next one. Athar, you can switch it to the next one. So when we just talk about public Wi-Fi is safe with its password protection, again, we believe that in public area, if there is a Wi-Fi which has been there and we have just taken their password and we are using their password and it has nothing to do with us, it means we are safe. So again, in that kind of scenario, you have to, it is better if you use a VPN. I'm just giving a safety measure, of course. So there is a complete techie team which is sitting here who's better in terms of having an idea on how to go about these things. And maybe in coming sessions, we will be taking those aspects also. So when we just talk about here, at least your data is always encrypted. So you have to worry less. Again, when I just talk about in this one, that what makes us feel psychologically that why, if I am in public Wi-Fi and it is somebody else's Wi-Fi, I am protected. The first is, it's kind of a belief heuristic system, which is like that a password is acting like a lock for me and it's going to be working for me. And people generally say that if it is locked, it is safe. They have done that particular locking, so it will be safe for me also. And it's kind of a social proof effect for us that everyone is using it. So what if I also use it? So if everyone is kind of being there, it's kind of a, bhed chal, that we are all, if all are doing, I'll also be going to that particular thing, which is again a mentality, a human mentality, that if I'm pretty sure you must have seen or read the story of Pied Piper. Have you heard of that? The story of Pied Piper.
Family.
So it's basically that we have that kind of a mentality. Humans have that because we are sociable people. So what happens? If we feel one is doing that and one is safe with that, I'll also be doing it. So nothing can harm me also. So that kind of a mentality also makes us sometimes get involved into the risks. So the next is boundary illusion. When we just talk about boundary illusion, again, inside versus outside. So I've already created one boundary and I'm in a safe zone. Nothing can happen to me. Another is authority trust bias, which is there with us. And that humans feel, and then our mind tells us that, if the password has come from a cafe or this thing or a hotel or something, they are not going to be offering us something which is unsafe because they are big people and they are taking that responsibility, so nothing can happen to us. So we are basically transferring that trust to the authorities rather than to ourselves. And then effort justification. When I talk about effort justification, typing passwords feel like effort to us, and this becomes very easy. Yeah, Ms. Mukambika, you want to say something?
No.
Sorry, ma'am. No. Sorry.
Yeah. So risk normalization, again, through familiarity, we again feel nothing bad happened to others, so how will it happen to me? Again, our brain is such. We train our brain in such a manner that we are ready to downgrade perceived risks, and we are not ready to take that it can happen with us, as I just said. So that is again because of the psychological issue, or because of our brain telling us that it's not happened with others, it will not happen with me. And then misunderstanding of what passwords actually do. So sometimes we don't even understand. They often just limit to those only who are joining it. So, and we can't see what is going inside that. So the next is, I would request other to, thank you very much. The next is the enemy could lie within. That we always believe, there is a belief that hacking will only be done by the people who are unknown to us. They cannot be people whom we trust. So here, because we have lots of trust on others, and sometimes we can never think that those who are very close to us can be harming us. So those kind of possibilities can happen. Like in companies also, if I just give an example, there had been one particular situation where I had some people coming as a victim in terms of talking about a small company, which they talked about that, there was one employee who was dissatisfied with his salary and with his this thing. So he started stealing the information, and he started taking it. And again, I'm pretty sure you have watched many movies where you also see that a lot of people, sometimes who are kind of getting involved, and sometimes even being unaware. It's not necessary that every time you will be aware and trying to steal information and then give it to somebody else because of your certain motives, or maybe certain anger or resentment towards the system. But also sometimes you're unaware because you have less knowledge. So again, because of your less knowledge can also sometimes be that you're becoming the enemy of your own people, or of your friends, or the family. So unintentional sharing can also sometimes happen. Sometimes, if you have seen, a lot of people sometimes just tag other friends also, though they are very uncomfortable, or they don't want to do that. I'm pretty sure you all have gone through that in media places also. Has it ever happened with anyone in terms of that? That somebody says that I don't want to be tagged, but you generally do it because you feel that nothing is happening with me and I'm fine, then why can't I tag others? So similarly here also, they do not understand, but they're unintentionally sharing your information to other people who are there in your groups. So those kind of things can also sometimes create problem. And now, why does this happen? We are going to be talking about, Atharva, I would request you to switch to the other, this thing. Thank you very much. Again, it is again a familiarity safety bias, which is there within us. We believe that, as in again, the human mind believes or is trained in such a way that we feel, if I know it, they won't harm me. And if it has not happened with me, it will not happen with the people around me also. So that safety biases get created in us. And our brain has been evolved to trust the familiar people. Though we feel that these are familiar people, so I can trust them. There is nothing which can be, they cannot harm me. And we feel that those who are unknown to us will be the one who can create risk for us. So that is the first one. The familiarity is equal to safety. So which is actually not there. So sometimes it can be, you can be backstabbed by your own people. It can be in your system. It can be in your, amongst your, as I said, sometimes family people also, or friends, anybody can be there. So in-group trust and loyalty base, that is another, when we just talk about, we consider them as an in-group, that this is my group. So my group cannot do that to me. And we have that kind of a social cohesion with them. We've been mixing around and meeting. So our mind rejects that kind of an idea that it can't be done by them. That's not possible. You must have again watched a lot of movies where they say, how can he do to me? Have you seen that, those kind of lines coming from someone that, oh, I trusted that person so much and he has done this to me. So this is again for the reason that we as in human mind reject that idea that somebody amongst us or in our own group can be harming us. And then moral halo effect, that is another effect which is there in psychology, when we just talk about that, when we say they are a good person or they will not be doing it, and we have kind of, because they are with me, I'm a very morally upright person, and how can they be doing things immorally? So that also is kind of, we try to feel that they are like us, because we we are like this, so they will also not be doing this and they will never be harming us. Then emotional discomfort avoidance, which is another one which talks about that it is painful to suspect who are going to be people closer to us. So it gives us a lot of discomfort that emotionally, if we say that it's people who are closer to us can be also uh, doing dangerous things or can be also harming us in some or the other manner. We don't want to believe in that. So that's why, again, we avoid that kind of a situation, or our mind tells us, no, that can be happening. And simplified villain narrative, again, you've seen a lot of, as I just talked about, that we generally have villains as in black and white kind of a situation, that this person is totally negative or this person is totally positive. There are gray shades, there are certain sometimes issues which happen with certain people, and they might misuse the trust which you have in them. So those kind of things you have to be careful of. And as I just said, that it is because our mind is made such a way. And then responsibility distancing. So when we just talk again, if it is coming from outsiders, it's kind of, I understand. But with internal this thing, we feel very harmless that nothing can happen with us. May I request you to go to the next one? Yeah. So don't think that you are a know-all. Again, as we just talked about, this is very common amongst all of us. As I just gave you the example of one person, and this is an interesting personality whom I just recently met, talking about that, he was actually kind of boasting about how he is kind of dealing with the dark web people, and he's able to handle certain things in certain manner. So as I just talk about, do not be, it's good to be confident, but it is very dangerous to be overconfident. So never do that. Never think that phishing emails cannot come to me, or I am aware that how the phishing email looks like and how it would be. Sometimes one wrong click which has been there on that particular link, because you think you have a good idea that this is not, or this is, so you can get compromised, which is again not good. And why does this happen? Why this overconfidence bias is the one reason, as I just told you, that we believe that I can do it. I am smart enough and I have the capability and I'm immune to those kind of things. Then prototype fixation. So prototype fixation, when we have people have their own mental image of phishing in terms of that it will be, if the phishing is going to come, it's going to be a bad grammar, then only I can say the person is phishing, or it will be weird links which I will be able to immediately make out, or maybe an obvious urgency which will be shown in that one. So I will be immediately able to, so that's the prototype which people have set in their mind. And they go against that. Sometimes it is not necessary that's going to be happening like that. Then familiarity desensitization, when we just talk about, again, when we feel that in one glance it's looking good enough, we just go to that, we get desensitized. We do not feel that, okay, we have to be very careful. And after certain time, you just kind of let go. Okay, fine, this is fine, that we just, so you yourself, become disarmed towards those things against which you should be always armed and aware. So gradually we feel, okay, yeah, this looks very similar, and we had been having, earlier also these kind of mails. So we just kind of carry on with those, and we sometimes click on the wrong links. And ego protection and identity, when we just say we believe that we are smart, and I will not be falling for that. I've been taught, I've been told, but how can I be doing this? So again, that also sometimes creates in our mind that we get involved into this, or we get into this kind of a trap. Then cognitive load vulnerability, a lot of cognitive load which is there. We are sometimes we have our own issues, our stressed out lifestyle, fatigue because of certain things, or maybe we are distracted with certain things which are happening around us because of some emergencies which are happening, or certain urgencies in which the mails are required. So in those cases, sometimes even if we are intelligent enough, or have a good intellect, we still we fall into these kind of traps very easily. Then control illusion, again, we have the feeling that we have the control over the things and have a mastery. So that also sometimes can make us, become careless towards the things. and survivorship bias when we talk about. Again, you remember the phishing we just talked about, you got not the near misses of or quite failure. So when we just said that we had been able to survive till here, we will be able to survive. So no problem will be there. So that's confidence of reinforcement of that it has happened and no problem had happened. So it will be okay. May I request you to go to the next one? Again, another thing is cybersecurity is an expensive affair. It's again a kind of preconceived notion that if if I have to kind of be secured in that space, or if I have to create a lot of multi-factor systems, I have to spend a lot of money. So that is, again, I understand that there is a possibility of those kind of things, but it is better to be safe than sorry, as we just say. So it's when we talk about here that why do we feel this kind of a thing, that it is very expensive. The first reason is visible cost, which is there to you, and we call it salience bias, that it is visible to us that, oh my God, I have to pay these many hundreds for, getting the safety or getting this particular thing or this particular tool or understanding of how to work on this and giving a lot of time to that particular thing. So again, that kind of a feeling that the invisible has not happened to us. We can't be very sure that it's going to be happening to us. So because we feel that it can't happen to us, what happens, the visible costs kind of irk us, and it kind of makes us feel that, oh, I have to do this, so it will become too difficult. So before versus after kind of a thing, which is there, which also creates in our mind that we should not be, spending money on the cybersecurity. And then loss aversion in the wrong direction. When we just talk about, again, why spend the money on that might happen? It might be one of the case in many cases that, it will be not every time it can happen to me. So I'll give a very silly example here of one of my students, and it was an interesting one, though I laughed at that. We had been, like, I remember we had, it was in grade 11th or something, and giving them homework in terms of doing certain things as in a task during holidays. So I just asked, that it should be done, and once this thing had got over, the holidays had got over, the summer vacation, and then it happened that the person had not done the work. So kind of amongst many of them, I just randomly asked this person, and he was kind of that, I said, be very truthful. The person told me that I felt that, it'll be hardly that you will be asking anybody just like that. You will just ask maybe the whole class together, and even if I don't give it, nobody will come to know about it. So again, as I just said, same here is also like that in terms of having that it might not happen to me. It will not happen. So that kind of a risk we are ready to take, because that might kind of a thing makes them that, okay, if we do it or we try it, it won't happen. Or if it happens, let me try that risk. Then misattribution of blame. When we just talk about that they spend too little, or it's kind of a money which is not worth it to be spent there, and it's going to go to the pits. So that is why sometimes people feel that it's not required, and all or nothing thinking again, that we feel it's very expensive and pointless, so let's not do that particular thing. Again, responsibility avoidance. We try to be that just saying that, okay, this is expensive, we cannot do, and we will not go there, and we just put the responsibility to the people who can be affording it. And if we could afford, again, we would haven't done it. I would request you to just go to the next slide. Again, the feeling of once secure, always secured. So again, if we have just bought it and we feel that, now I bought it, so I will be nothing, nothing will happen to it. The systems are evolving. Lots of things which are of the history of the past now are no more effective and working. So when we just talk about the psychological aspect here, what happens is why we feel that way, because again, I have closed it, I've done it. So that kind of a done feeling, it's a closure bias, which we say. So my mind tells us that it's been done. We have fixed that particular problem. So nothing will happen now. as per my checklist, I've done the tick there. So nothing will happen. And even when there are lots of changes which have happened, and you are aware that every day there are new interesting scams which are coming up. And sometimes you feel that how come people reach there and how come people think like this? But again, that happens. And then static world assumption. We believe that the world is on static, only we are moving on in terms of life. So that's been happening. So again, another is effort fatigue and maintenance avoidance. We do not want to put in so much of effort. We, as in humans, again, our mind is trained to be doing less effort and getting more benefits. So control illusion, which is similar like I talked earlier. Then success reinforcement. That when we talk about that it's been done, I've done absence of incidents around me. It has nothing has happened, and from last many times I've been taking this particular precaution and nothing has happened, so it will not happen in the future also. So again, outdated mental models. When we talk about that things are physical world, there are lots of things which are going to be lasting, long lasting. So even this is going to be there, and it's going to be long lasting. Our mind tells us this way. Next, I would request Satar to go to the next one. Yeah. Again, they are not interested in our cyber criminals are not interested in my personal information. They actually are quite a lot interested, and they there is a lot of data stealing which happens. And if you have seen a lot of messages coming to you sometimes which are not even in your requirements also, but the people are sending you, or the companies are sending you for the reason that because they've got some certain personal, or they have bought certain personal information of yours which can be helpful to them. I request you to go there. So again, as I just said, people's belief is there, and why this belief is there in them is because they feel that the world is also morally correct. The value system of others are also like mine. So that is one, and nobody will have that kind of a malice against me. I've not done any harm to others. How can others will be harming me? Then optimism bias, as I just said, it won't happen to me. Then personification gap. The personification gap basically means there's a gap between that I have created that, this person can only be a villain, and the lack of that feeling that people can be villain in my life. It's not personal, so personal, why should anybody will be coming to me or coming on me in terms of, because I am harmless, I've not done anything wrong to others. Nobody can come and trouble me also. And then when we just talk about attribution error, which is again very important in terms of that humans feel that way, and that people will be, observing certain behavior, and then only they will be doing certain kind of or such kind of a thing, looking at certain attributes of mine or behavior of mine. But they don't realize that cyber criminals are not worrying about the identity aspect. They just want to exploit, and whoever comes their way randomly or sometimes, willingly or intentionally, they will be doing so with that. Okay, may I request for the next one? And we believe again, always hackers are using the sophisticated methods. So when we just talk about they're using sophisticated methods, it is that they will be using such kind of methods which are very sophisticated in nature. Not necessary. Again, we have always been watching too much of Hollywood movies and all those kind of things where we have seen, people are coming with that different cognitive understanding of that, and all these things like, an interesting, which is a not understanding jargon kind of a thing. So then we understand that it is too sophisticated and not happen to me because it's far too sophisticated. Then comes the next one. May I request you to go to the next slide? Yeah. That's called a cognitive bias, which is there of we call it Hollywood hacker illusion in psychology. And then comes the hackers exploit humans and not machines. We all as in humans have the belief that they will be hacking machines, not us as in exploiting us. We are engineered that way. And overconfidence bias again comes here. And then attribution bias, which I just told you that those particular personality is not me. So they will not be I'm not James Bond. So nobody will come after me and nobody will be troubling me in that kind of case scenario. Hackers optimize for effort and not brilliance. They again feel that they are not going to be looking for, you know, they are working on low effort and high rewards. So that also makes us feel that nothing will happen to me. Again, I would request to go to the last one. Yeah. So basically, when we just talk about here, it's when these myths are basically cultural, way you can say, or maybe otherwise also we have kind of created because it eases our mind. It kind of makes my mind become comfortable and live in peace. So again, as I just said, it is nothing but more of our weaknesses as in humans. And it, as I just said, it helps us to relax our mind. So that is why we do that. And being knowledgeable in this particular situation would be the best way. If you keep evolving yourself, keep updating yourself, then only you can be out of stresses and sufferings which are emotional in terms of, you know, losing your loved ones, or I have had certain case scenarios where there had been a suicide case which had happened because the girl had been, you know, the picture had been put in a very wrong manner on the this thing, and it had been distributed amongst many. So those kind of situations can happen in the families, which can be suffering because certain times there are so much of resentment amongst each other of not allowing or not giving the liberty or the privilege of using the addiction, the you know, online games or certain things. So all these can also create those emotional sufferings here when we just talk about. So these myths, when we just talk about, we have to be careful of, so that we are not becoming getting into the trap of those things, and we can be becoming, you know, a sufferer. Thank you very much. Any
Thank you so
queries
much,
or any
Ritu
questions?
ma'am. Thank you so much, Ritu ma'am, for
Thank you.
this
Thank you
amazingly
very much.
covering all the myths
I know
around
there'll be
cyber.
a lot of terminologies which are kind of, you know, not everybody is aware of. So must be a little heavy on the this thing. And the time was like, you know, within half an hour I had to try to cover all the things. I could not take much of the examples and all those things. Yeah.
Ma'am, but the terms were really the one, you know, that kept us glued to your session, to be honest. And the Hollywood, all the terms that came, right? It was so new to us. We were very much intrigued by it, ma'am. Thank you.
Just maybe I would like to ask one question. Like, from your perspective, it was a great session, I should say. I mean, with your rich experience, you were able to share excellent, useful information based on your experience. So, from your perspective, could you please share with us as to which psychological myths create the strongest false sense of cyber safety among users today?
As I just said, the first is that I'm a moral person and nothing immoral will happen with me. So that's the biggest myth which is there. And things won't happen to me. So these are the two things which I feel personally that people get into, you know, trapped into because of the reason that they feel that how can it be me, and I'm too small or too small a fry in terms of that anybody can harm me. So these are the main myths which I feel personally are where people get trapped into, and especially because I feel I am moral and I'd been kind of never getting involved into these kind of things. So how can somebody pick me up and do this kind of wrong thing with me, though they don't understand it's a random thing. It's not that, it's nothing personal about it with you. It's just that it was bad day for you, and they had found your identity and they have just picked up your name and all the details, and you have become the, you know, victim this time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think somebody was trying to ask a question. We have got a question, but respecting your time, Manju ma'am.
Namaste, ma'am. Ritu ma'am, as usual, wonderful to hear you. My question is, ma'am, this gaming addiction and, you know, kids becoming really going to a very bad stage. What can be, like, you know, done to wake the parents from the slumber that they need to take a responsible step towards protecting their children in this bad digital gaming era?
I think a lot of requirement in terms of orientating parents also, because I feel I keep talking about that it is not, we cannot just easily put the blame to the next generation. We can't just say that they had been doing wrong. I have allowed it. So I remember it's a very simple event of my life, I would say, or incident of my life. I remember my child was really young, and at that time, my father-in-law had told me, it was troubling me in terms of he was not sleeping. He was just 20 days old. That will be, again, I just said it's a very silly example, but it's a very interesting example. So he just told me that you have to understand, either he is going to control you or you have to control him. Now, decision is yours. So what happens is this certain times, because of parents being busy, and if you have seen, again, a lot of times when we want our entertainment or our fun, what do? We just kind of feel this is the most simplified way in which we can handle the thing, that we just give it so that the child is not going to throw any tantrum, or is not going to be conducting badly, so, or will be quietly sitting at one place. So what happens is that this kind of thing leads to more time, and then again, very normal and common is like, give me 15 more minutes, and those 15 minutes by mistake go to half an hour, 1 hour, when you are allowing the child to play. I'm pretty sure you must have heard of these kind of things. 15 minutes extra, and that 15 is never 15 actually. And they also kind of start enjoying this way, and then they know, okay, now my mother will get busy or my father will get busy, and nobody's going to come for next half an hour or 1 hour to me. So again, as I said, the parental orientation is more important, that the way they are kind of doing, and it is sad. I will say for sure that our generation is lagging a little bit there, and involving me as well, in terms of, yes, we are hovering. We expect a lot from our next generation in terms of being competent enough, doing a lot in terms of getting good grades, and doing a lot of such things which others are doing, many in multiple activities. We want them to be getting involved, but somewhere we are trying to live our life through them, but we are also not realizing that our parenting style is a little loose, or I would say relaxed in comparison to maybe our parents. It's I will not say that you have to abuse in terms of you have to hit them, or you have to be kind of mean to them, but yes, there are certain ways to assert yourself. So assertion has to come from us, and for that, parents are to be aware that where to draw a line, and how to kind of tell them, this is not, I'm letting you cross.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Always as insightful. Thank you.
And thank you for that question, Manju ma'am, because I think it was so relevant, especially after the latest news, the triple suicide in Ghaziabad. Your question was very relevant. Thanks for the question, ma'am. And I think we are, already delayed by 40 minutes, because, ma'am, Ritu ma'am, your session, I mean, there was so much to learn, in fact. And I think I also had many questions in line. And if anybody, I think Siri Chandana, we can wind up, ma'am, after hearing from Miss Siri Chandana. And after that, I think Atharv, you can take over and do the vote of thanks. Siri ma'am, you can unmute.
Thank you, Lakshmi, for giving the opportunity to speak here. Hi, ma'am. Hi, Ritu ma'am.
Hello.
Actually, last 10 days, I'm little confused with one of the transaction, ma'am. So actually, I have lent some amount to my colleague, but in return, he sent me 5,000 back on December 31st. So what exactly happened is, like, after that, I got the notices from the HDFC bank saying there were like 3 complaints on that transaction. So since there were 3 notices, even though the dispute amount was like 5,000 rupees, bank has held like 15,000 rupees for each notice, ma'am. So is it a valid scenario that they can hold multiplied amount, or is it like only they had to hold the lien amount, ma'am? No,
I think that technical aspect, the others are going to, I think,
Yes,
Lakshmi
ma'am.
or others will be able to handle better. Yes.
So, Siri ma'am, I think you were asking that, you lent somebody the money, and when the person returned it to you, your account was freezed.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So I'll tell you what happened. I think I already answered your question during the session. The amount that you received, maybe the person who sent you the money, his account Okay, now actually freezed, and the money that he sent you was tainted. Tainted in a sense, for example, if if somebody account A loses money and the fraud is sending the money to account B, C, D, and now the account B, from account B it will be sent to X, Y, Z. Maybe the person who sent you money is that X, okay, who received money from a fraudulent transaction. He might, we are not saying that he is a fraud, he might not even be aware, he or she is not even aware that this money came from a fraudulent transaction. Now this person might have innocently transferred that money, that particular, he might have received some 50,000, that person might have sent 5,000 or 10,000 to you. Okay, it might be the scenario. And when he sends that, and when this person files a cyber complaint, now it's the duty of the police to freeze all the fraudulent transactions.
Yes.
And from X, that person has sent money to you. So it's more like layers, tiers of, there are tier 1, tier 2, layer 1, layer 2. A lot of, these transactions are there, and every transaction gets freezed later on. So yes, they have the right to freeze your account, but you have to prove that this particular money that you received is legitimate. For that case, you need to inform them that you need to show a proof that it was a money that was lent to your friend and he has repaid it to you. That way, if you show the proof to the police, only then they'll, remove that lien or that block that is kept on your account.
Yeah, exactly, ma'am. Since I'm there in Bangalore, I have already reached out to the cyber cell, and they told like for that, because they have the dispute amount of 5,000, they will be providing NOC for that one. But rest of the two station, I'm like unable to reach out, or like
Yes.
unable to find them. And also my query is like, if the transaction dispute amount is only 5,000 and reference to only particular transaction, but it was like they were multiplying with the multiple notices and holding them on, ma'am.
Holding what amount, ma'am? Like what compared to your balance, they've only kept this 5%, or they've completely freezed your account?
Right now they have unfrozen, but they have held extra 10,000 of mine, ma'am. Like,
so maybe extra 10,000, they are not, allowed to do it. But if there is a reason, you need to check why they have done it. For example, you can ask your bank, like why this extra 10,000 is kept on lien. And if the bank is able to explain you, it is based on a cyber complaint that is filed by some victim somewhere. And then you're supposed to connect to the IO. If the IO is not reachable, you can even drop a email to the respective DCPs or the commissioners there and request them that you're not able to reach them, or like the communication shouldn't be that hard because all the numbers will be in the .gov websites. So you may, and even certain applications will be there. Again, please Google safely. So when you refer to the right website, you'll get all the detail and you're supposed to connect. And maybe, you can reach out. I think you are from Bangalore, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You can connect with Vinay Nagachandra, who is there, he's also a volunteer, and you can connect with him and he'll actually support you.
Yeah, actually, sir, sir has already told, but still, I don't have a proper.
It is just because of panic, I'll tell you, because you might be actually wondering why this is happening to you, and then you want to know more about it. But trust me, here you need to connect with the police. And plus you need to show them that this is a legitimate amount, and they will not actually keep it on hold for long. They are not, they'll definitely help you out here. And if you're not able to connect with somebody, please, through Vinay, please connect to us, and we will actually help you out by trying to find out some contacts in that particular position.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. And I think Ritu ma'am, Saravana Kumar sir, and everybody, can we move to the vote of thanks?
Yeah, definitely.
Avni, can you invite Athar?
Yeah, sure. I would once again like to thank everyone who has guided us throughout this session today and have shared their insightful thoughts. Now, I would like to call upon Athar Tiwari, the founder and co-founder and director of NCORE Foundation, to share his vote of thanks for today's session.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Avni, and thanks a lot, everyone. I will not stretch the session because it's like already we are very up to the time. Okay, so yeah, good evening, everyone. As we wrap up the launch session, that is Cyber Aware Thursday series. So it's not the end. We are still planning some more sessions for everyone. So, a sincere thank you to Mr. Rahul Alwal, IPS, for sharing practical law enforcement insights, and also a very much thanks to Ms. Ritu Gulati Saggar ma'am for helping us understand the psychology behind cyber mistakes that we often don't even realize. With that, thanks a lot to Lakshmi ma'am and Mr. R. Saravana Kumar sir for leading this initiative with clarity and commitment. To all the participants for their time, energy, and for the great questions. So I just have one thing that's the takeaway for from this particular session is hackers don't break system first; they break confidence and habits. So we just needs to change the habit, and we just needs to be secure by our habits. So, this is the beginning of Cyber Aware Thursday series, and we are really excited to continue this conversation with you again next month. So, we'll see you on the next Friday. Sorry, not Friday, it's the next Thursday for the coming month. So, with that, we officially close today's session. Stay alert, stay smart, and think before you click. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.